here we are for another episode of Shining the Light On. How are you, Therese?
I'm doing good, although I know that a lot of people in the US are having energy. We had that EBS test today, which if anyone saw the karma card, or not karma cards, but the recent video I did on it, I told people it's not going to be anything big, but I think the anticipation of it was built up for some people, but that's nothing compared to what Canada is doing. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know, right? And I could feel my lovely American neighbors' collective fear energy this morning. And I'm like, why do I feel so anxious? And I'm like, oh, because it's not mine. And then someone else is like, I'm feeling fear. I think it's the collective. I'm like, oh, I think that's what I was feeling too from the States. And what's funny about Canada is on Sunday, I woke up so anxious and I was like, what the heck? Like, why? And then later in the day, I'm on social media and a girl I follow is talking about how this bill C-11 that our crony government has passed, which is a censorship bill, is now going to go after streaming, so podcasts. And then I'm like, well, crap. Like, I have a podcast. I've been doing it for 8 years with over 400 episodes, and it's I love it.
Popular.
It's favorite things that I do. I get to share from my heart. I get a lot of beautiful clients. It helps people feel safe and reassured. And I'm like, really, like, now it's getting personal because that is something that and they're specifically going to be going after iTunes and Spotify first. Two big science, most popular places where people listen to podcasts.
So can you break down what is it that they're saying they're going to do?
Yeah. So streamers with 10 million or more in Canadian revenue subject to Bill C-11 and CRTC's new rules and the Canadian Radio and Television Commission. So last Friday, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunication Commission wrapped out 2 out of 3 public consultations it launched in May related to the enactment of Bill C-11, the Online Streaming Act. So before I go any further, the way that they're trying to angle it is that they want people to have access to more Canadian content. And they also want to charge on the social media end. Their whole thing was, well, we want media to pay a certain amount of money to keep being able to share their content. So they almost like flipped it like, oh, well, we're going to censor Canadians from being able to like see their own mainstream media or independent media like Rebel News here is like shares more truth stuff, but then you have Global Calgary or Global News, CTV News, CBC News, and CBC is like the CNN of Canada, like the worst one, just to give you but essentially they're going like, oh, like we're not censoring, like we just want you to pay a lot of money to share your news stories on social media. That's like essentially how they're framing it.
All right. So let me see if I follow. They want Canadians to pay money to share Canadian news, or they want other, so they want like our news outlets, like US news outlets to pay Canada money, or
they want the Canadian news outlets to pay to share their content on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
And because these companies didn't want to do that, as the story is, as of like, I think it was early September, late August, like I'll pull one up to just show you. So if I want to go and look at any of my Canadian news, like obviously I don't look at any of it anyway, but like, well, maybe less people be getting brainwashed, right? If they can't read it online too. So maybe there's
this is like your mainstream media news. Is that what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. Okay. So I'll show you. Because just the visual is better than what I can share, but it's just taking some time. Oh, I can still see CTV News. What about CTV Calgary? What? How come I can see it?
Well, it's not going through yet, right? Or did it?
No, this part already did, because on my phone, unless it's phones.
Maybe it's on the phone.
Because I can see it on my computer, which is so weird. Let me see. Yeah, okay, I can see it on my computer. So, apparently it must be phones specifically. So let me show you on my phone.
Yeah,
I'll
I
show
like it.
you. So I'll show you what it looks like. Well, we all know what it looks like on social media or on, yeah. So if I go to, so I'm just going to go to Rebel News. It's like it's loading, but the content doesn't actually load. And then it says, I can
What does
read
that
it.
say?
It says, people in Canada can't see this content. In response to Canadian government legislation, news content can't be viewed in Canada. Like, why can't I share or view the news? In response to the Online News Act, Instagram restricts the sharing and viewing of news links and all posts from news outlets in Canada. If you are in Canada, this means you can't share or view, right? You can't see content from any news outlet. So, but it's being framed that like they had to spend a bunch of money if they wanted to keep active, but that's the BS. Like it's censorship, right? Like,
yeah, this smells strongly of, not saying that it is China, but it sounds and acts like the Chinese Communist Party and how they would treat their citizenship.
So there's that part of it, but I don't think it was very well received because a lot of people are like, I don't care. We don't want to watch the news. We don't pay attention to it anyway.
Right.
People are still sharing stuff anyway, like regardless. So, and the fact that you can just go on your computer and search the news outlets anyway, and it's coming up like, okay, the other thing people can do is get a VPN and then it works too. So it's just if you want to take that step. But then with this specifically, right, once you're registered under the CRTC, they can sift and listen through your contact. They probably will get access to all your subscribers and their information. Like it's very invasive. So
it is.
To give a bit more information, the legislation which this is interesting though too. The legislation forces streaming services such as Netflix. We need to ask if this is a white hat op.
Okay, let's add it to our questions list.
Okay, so Netflix, which I'm totally good with. Let's censor Netflix. They don't have, no, right? But Spotify, YouTube, Disney Plus. Okay, like that's fine too. That's
and Apple,
there.
Right?
So
Apple.
Right now, I don't actually see Apple, Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, Disney Plus to contribute to and promote. So their whole shtick is they're forcing services like this to promote Canadian media content. So they're saying they want these outlets to promote more Canadian content and specifically Indigenous content, right? But we know that's bull because why would you do this? And like, you know what I mean? But it's funny because like Netflix and Disney, like they're so woke.
Right.
So why would they do that? I don't know. So
maybe because they're easier to control platforms because they'll go along with the agenda.
Yeah, because they're part of it. So under the decisions issued, the CRTC determined that only online undertakings earning 10 million or more in annual Canadian revenue will be subject to the new rules arising from legislation. They are required to provide information about their activities by registering with the CRTC before November 28th. Registrants, the CRTC said, will include streaming services, social media services, subscription television services that are available online, radio stations that live stream over the internet, free or paid subscription podcasts, adult sites, news sites, and a host of other online and video services. The Broadcasting Watchdog reaffirmed that it has no intention of regulating social media content creators, and they do not need to register. Online undertakings providing either video game services or audiobook services will not be subject. And then they published a list of registrants and some of the information, blah, blah, blah. We're developing a modern broadcasting framework that can adapt to changing circumstances. To do that, we need broad engagement and robust public records, right? So that's like the
robust public records,
right?
Yeah. So we need to collect a bunch of data from you.
Yeah. We need to hear if you're talking about us badly so that we can censor you, essentially, is what they're saying.
Right. So they're asking all podcast platforms to register with what? What do you need to register with
the CRTC, the Canadian Radio and Television Commission. So the censorship goonies.
And if you don't, are there any penalties for that?
I don't know yet. I think my prediction probably is if they don't register, they will be blocked. And so it'll just be like going on Instagram. Like if I search those news outlets, it says not accessible in Canada. So my guess is if you went to go to Spotify, right, and like search a podcast or watch or listen to something, it would say that Canadians can no longer access this content because Instagram didn't pay, Meta didn't pay, so I can't see, but I can see on my computer. So but like, who's going to sit on their computer and listen to a podcast? Like,
that's what they're counting on. Because I'm sure they've got enough data to know how much people are accessing things through mobile versus,
totally,
desktop.
Yeah.
And that's why they looks like they're attacking mobile first, because everybody's got it in their pocket. It's so accessible, whereas you have to be a certain place. I mean, even if you have a laptop, it's not as convenient as your phone.
Yeah, totally. It's just so easy with the phone, right? Like you're right. It's what most people are using, and it's convenient and easy to drive and sync your phone up to listen to a podcast, to walk and listen, to bike and listen, to cook and listen.
Right.
Like I'm not bringing my laptop downstairs when I'm doing food prep. I've got my phone playing.
Right. So they're counting on people's need for convenience, or, the lack of, like, maybe they're deciding people are too lazy to go search for the information, but I think it's going to have a backlash on them, and people are going to be like, F you, well, I can get it over here. So now maybe your laptop does end up in the kitchen.
It will, 100%. Right. And I think part of what's happening, and we were kind of talking about this before we came on live, is they did the first part, which is like censoring it on the phones, like the news, like I showed you, right? But a lot of people we don't care. We don't want to watch the mainstream media. We know that they're part of the problem, and we know that this is part of what's feeding the machine, right? So they're like, big deal. And people will screenshot and record TikToks and bring them out. Like, people will find a way to share the content, right?
Yes, they will.
And people are craving sharing more truth anyway.
Right. And this is where it has the boomerang effect naturally, because the minute you tell someone they can't do something, what's human behavior do? You're going to do it. That's right. You're going to go right to the thing you're not supposed to, because someone's telling you you can't. And free will is dominant energy in every being. So it doesn't work. And they don't have the level of control that something like the CCP has in China.
No.
But can we go down a rabbit hole for a quick second? Because you know more about this than I would. So I've heard, and there's rumors out there, right, that Trudeau is actually like the illegitimate son of Castro.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
And isn't there like a story about his mom meeting Castro, or what's the information on that?
So apparently she went to vacation in Cuba, and they met and spent some time together, and then 9 months later, little Justin's born. Little baby JT Castro was born. And also I believe I think his fake father Pierre praised Castro's way of governing. But they look exactly alike. I can pull up a photo right now. It's literally, isn't there a side by side of Castro and Trudeau, and you're like, whoa, it's crazy. So now I have to use my power of recall, but isn't Cuba considered a communist country? Yes. So that's the flavor I'm getting from this. It's a big time communism. It's like they're trying to secretly usher in communism into, well, they already have. Let's just be honest. They've already done it. But it's like they're trying to make it okay with you. Okay, here's that one in the middle. There's a lot of them. Yeah, that one. Can you expand that? Is there one with I'm trying to find one where he has facial hair. Look at how similar they look. They do. I wish they were facing the same angle so we could see it. There was one where they were both laughing right there. That red one. You see that? Wow. Yo, shit. Excuse my French. It's like the smile. I want to try find one where Trudeau has facial hair from when he was on house arrest there. Oh, here, look at this. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what this is. I
So
mean,
that's Castro and True. Wow. Yep. Just
so
a little bit of mom's bone structure in there, but for the most part, that's a freaking strong coincidence right
yeah.
there.
And look at how smiley she is with him holding the baby. And there's the fake
And
daddy.
that's the fake dad.
Yeah.
Who brings their baby to meet like a foreign dictator? I mean, like,
Oh my gosh. Well, of course they do. They're all in it
what?
together.
I know, but I mean, like, just as someone on the outside watching that, you're like, wait, what?
Right.
So first you go and meet him on vacation, and then you come back with your baby and bring it to him, like, hey, look what I've done. What? That's
Oh my
weird.
gosh. What a laugh. It's hilarious, really. Like all we can do is laugh about it at this point. But yeah, totally. That, and people talk about that. And we've heard a lot of people on Telegram, a lot of truthers talking about this connection between the two of them. And we know how these families and these bloodlines work. So it really looks like that's what's going on here, is baby communist.
Oh my God. And I love how they, like, again, bringing the baby back to Cuba or whatever to meet Castro. It's like they're doing it right in front of people's faces. Yeah. And then they're gaslighting, and they're like, there's nothing here. This is not abnormal. And it's like, no, that's abnormal. Like how often do you see that happening? If there's not a connection, if there's not a relationship, if there isn't something going on there, that's not a normal action that someone would take. So something's up with that. Maybe we should
deep
ask
dive
really
on
quick.
that.
Let me just
you should
ask my
yeah. Okay, I'll ask two. What are we asking?
All right. So from the highest truth, is Justin Trudeau Fidel Castro's illegitimate son? Yes or no?
I'm already getting a big yes.
Yeah. Big yes.
Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. We're totally like, yeah.
Thanks, team. Yeah.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's like, it's right there, right in front of your face. I think that's one of the things about when you're gaslit for so long.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's not just one person gaslighting you. In this case, it's like everyone. No one else is acknowledging this. And no one who's sharing the news is telling you the truth. And so when that's happening, when you're being like massively gaslit, but you see the evidence right in front of you, you have that cognitive dissonance where you're like, oh, my eyes tell me one thing, but I'm being told I'm wrong. So who do I believe? Do I believe everybody else, or do I believe my own gut instinct? And in this case, I'd say believe your gut, because evidence is right in front of you.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if he was like, was he planted? Was this like a long, because you know, the dark side, they plan things out for years before they implement. They plan it out. They have a plan of action, and they're patient AF about this kind of stuff, right? They'll let it slow burn because it's the best way to get it past us. When they move quickly, like they're being forced to now, everybody's eyes are on it. We're like, why are you doing that? That's weird. Stop it. You know, like this is behavior I don't understand why you would do that.
Yeah.
When they do the slow burn, where it's very controlled and has a long time span, it's happening so slowly that most people aren't sensing it. They're not picking up on it.
Yeah. And I feel like this is all happening so fast, like between the pandemic, the supplement thing, now this, like, it's really being pushed hard to like
wake
really
people up.
People to wake up. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are in the, what is it called? The discovery phase, or are we past that? But we're at the phase right now where it's like, they're actually forcing the dark side to go pedal to the metal in order to try their best to implement what they would have had in place by now, had they in the United States had the 4 years that they lost. So if one of their people, if Hillary, like, for example, got in 2016, 2017, whenever that was, we would already be in position by now for what they wanted over here. So they lost those 4 years, and now in order for them to try and get up to speed, up to the point they want to, they have to go really fast. And in doing so, it is their own demise, because now we're paying attention. Now more and more people pay attention. And every time they try to implement one more thing, it wakes somebody else up. So this whole C-11 bill that they're passing right now has woken some people, some new people up.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, one of the good things is I'm going to screen record again, because when I go to the wokemsn.com to look at another article, the great news is, look at 234 thumbs down, only 58 thumbs up. And if we look at the comments, right, Trudeau is censoring, CTRC just wasted billions of taxpayers' money. It's all about control, too many clowns, right? Like like pretty much everyone is talking about censorship, right? Not a dictatorial move at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not working.
Look, owned by Castro's son Justin, like his dad Castro.
Yeah.
People are waking up.
Yeah.
Right? It's good.
Yeah. So this is the benefit of going through that, is that more and more people see it and are calling it out. And I truly believe, as scary as it looks to watch all this be implemented, it's being implemented because it's to get people to react. Because the one thing that will assure our success is when everybody gets involved, whether it's involved through commenting, whether it's involved through pushback, or protest, or things like, I'm not going to buy from this anymore. If that's the way you do things, I'm not in it anymore. So it is the most amazing, if not kind of exhausting boomerang we've ever seen. Yeah, it's exhausting to go through it.
It is, especially when you're, like I said, I've had 8 years of podcasting, almost 2 million downloads, top 1 ranked percent listened to, and I get so much of my business from it. And so it's like, it hit you get hit in the knees a bit, and you're like, but then it's like taking the step back and remembering this is part of the awakening, and we'll figure it out. One thing I want to just mention, because a lot of people don't know their rights, and if people knew their, like, here we have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, you guys have the Constitution. I'm not sure what it is in other countries, but of course, if people knew their rights, you would know that you have the freedom of expression, free speech, right? Freedom of speech. And that is on the charter. So the fact that, people think that this is right,
okay or illegal,
it's literally illegal. Like, it goes against the Charter of Human Rights. It is a crime against humanity, just like the last 3.5 years and beyond have been. So I really encourage you, if you don't know your charter, your constitution, whatever country you live in, make sure you get very well versed in your human rights, because it's going to help you better understand some of these things that have happened or are happening or are going to happen. And it's going to help you feel more empowered about what to do, where to go, like that there's places you can report crimes to, and all these different things, right?
Right. I mean, intimidation has always been one of their tactics, and withholding information, like withholding accurate information, is another thing that they have been doing. And they have definitely banked on the public's laziness. And I'm not saying that the public is lazy, but we have been lulled into it through all the conveniences that are offered. We're it's like, don't think about this. Here, have this. Here's the new smartwatch. Here's a new phone that you can play games on. Here's
Google,
Siri, here's virtual reality. You can leave this one and go into this one. You know what I mean? And it's like this constant distraction, and everything's about convenience. I mean, this is kind of a non sequitur, but it ties in a little bit. It's things like, for example, the Roomba. You heard about that, right? So Roomba is the robot vacuum cleaner, and it's a convenience, right? Now you don't even have to vacuum. Let this robot vacuum your house. Well, no one knew. I didn't know how it worked. I thought it just had like a touch sensor on it, and if it touched the wall, it would like ricochet off. What it has on it is a camera. and the camera is part of the sensor. So it's taking like quick shots
Oh,
as it goes
greasy.
around. And not only that, it's connecting to the Internet of Things. So it'll take, like, I saw pictures of it where it would take a picture of someone's kitchen and you'd see all these green boxes around appliances and a box of cereal or something on the counter, and it was tracking it and be like, this, they have this Black and Decker appliance there, here's a box of wheat thins, here's car keys for you know, a Subaru or something like that, all being tracked. That was number one. Number two, it was taking pictures of people.
Yeah. So if you walk
And
naked around your house while this thing is,
those, it's got pictures of you, and it's being uploaded into a cloud. Why are they uploading these images into a cloud? Why is it being stored anywhere? But there were pictures that were being released from this cloud of people on toilets. Like, they're sitting on the toilet and the Roomba's coming by and it take a picture of you, and now it's uploaded into a cloud. Right? So they've lulled us into a lot of stuff with the offer of convenience. And that's usually, I've been getting it over the last few years, but I really see, like, anytime they tell you they can make your life more convenient, start to question that.
Stay far away, people.
Question.
Yes.
Because nothing's free. Nothing, the work that you think you're saving yourself is you're giving something else away in order to get that convenience.
Totally, you are 100%. So, you know, with this whole bill, it's very obvious that it's censorship, and it's very obvious what they're doing. Of course, they try to put it under a lens that it's beneficial for Canada, but a lot of people are seeing what's going on and understanding it. So is there anything else you want to share before we dive into some questions and ask the cards?
No, let's start asking some questions. Okay. And see what the team's got to say about it.
Ooh, so my first question is, will this actually take effect? Like, the bill's passed, yes, but will this November 28th date come and all these big, like, Spotify, iTunes comply?
Okay, let's find out. I'm going to use my pendulum to start with. So from the highest truth, will Canada's C-11 bill go into full effect, and will Spotify, Apple, and other platforms comply with Canada's C-11 bill? Yes or no? I think they're going to get pushback. So I'm getting like a soft, it's like no with a maybe. So there's like, it might look like they're going to comply, and then there's pushback. There's a lot of pushback. It doesn't seem like it's going to go through. And I didn't put a date on that. So
yeah, it's interesting
in general
to say that, because a larger company such as Spotify may need to register. Spotify told the CRTC during public hearings in July that it wanted to see podcasts exempt from regulation due to the economic strain the podcasting industry is experiencing. So will they stand up? Will they push back? It'd be nice to see that. See a big old FU, Mr. Trudeau. And
Spotify is a United States company, so maybe that will be the thing, is like the courts will be like, well, this is not a United States bill. It's not, so we don't have to comply.
I feel Apple is as well, right?
Yes. So I get the sense that, like, it may not go very far. It might look like it's about to be implemented, and then people are like, shut it down, shut this shit down. It doesn't work. That's illegal. Can't pull it off here.
It's funny because I know when Janine pulled cards on initially when the bill was first passed, she got that it would like feel like it started to get really scary and like seem like it was all going to get shut down, and then in the last minute it wouldn't. So maybe this is what she was
I get this a similar thing. Like, it's going to do just like with the mandates that happened, where they were like, you're effed, you will not get to work, you will not get to do that. And they walked it all the way up to the edge, and then it fell apart. And I get the same thing with this. I don't even know if it gets all the way to the edge. I don't think it gets a lot of traction, is kind of what my team is giving me. Is there's like, it's a ghost is what they're saying. There's like, it's a facade. You're looking at it. It looks scarier than it actually is. There's no substance to it.
Right. Well, fingers crossed. So second question, I think this was your question. Will they go, if this does happen, will they specifically focus on really big names? Like say Jordan Peterson is an example, because he stands out, right?
Right.
Is it
Okay.
really to just go after them only?
All right. So let's use the cards, see what they got. Okay. If this bill does go through, will they only go after like the really big names, or will it go after everyone? Let me know. Okay. Ooh, okay, these three. Okay.
Ooh.
I'm getting like all these are like good time cards coming through. Like the first thing that comes through is like there's a success, but I don't feel like it's a negative success. I don't feel like they're the ones who get it. And then there's the party card shows up, like the emotional party card. It's like, hey, everything feels good. And then new opportunities. So I'm not getting this be prepared, it gets really ugly. Everything is like, this is a good guy card right here. The world would represent white hats. It represents the culmination of a spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm getting is like, there really is a nothing burger to this. I get that they'll walk it up and they're probably going to hype it up. I really do. They keep telling me it's like a ghost, meaning like you can see it. It's an apparition, but there's really no anything.
It's
in
like
this.
you can put your hand through it and it's like, oh, now that I see you and I can go like this and nothing happens, I see you're not scary at all.
Yeah, I just get that they only get to walk it up so far. Someone calls shenanigans and says this, you can't do this, and it doesn't have any weight. There's just nothing. And I wonder if it has to do with, because they're trying to, just like the and this reminds me of the Russell Brand thing, right? That the English government, the British government went to Rumble and was like, you need to shut them down. Now YouTube did it, but YouTube's also part of, here we are on YouTube, but it is part of the dark empire.
Yeah.
So they took him down, but Rumble was like, you have no jurisdiction here and you can't tell us what to do. And we don't censor free speech, and we don't act from a place of guilty until proven innocent. We live in a country where you're innocent until proven guilty and no charges have been brought. They're like, we don't condone this behavior, and if new information comes to light, we will reassess the situation. But as of right now, no, you don't get to do that. And I kind of get that something similar comes along with this. And I think that you're right. I think Jordan Peterson may be sort of part of this scenario. It's like, look, he's going to fight it. You're going to watch him fight it. You're going to have feelings about it. They're going to bring things up, maybe help people understand your rights as they are, because even though we need to know what our rights are, I think that a lot of people find it like it's, where do I go? Or this is long-winded, just give me the points. And this isn't a way to illustrate that. Let's play this game. Let me show you what it looks like when you know what your rights are.
Totally.
And it helps people feel more secure in themselves. Like, this can't just happen to me. I have to agree to it. And so one of the things that we all do is we say, I don't consent. You can't take this. I don't consent to this. So I'm not playing. I don't know. I mean, I get a strong feeling like I wouldn't register. I wouldn't register, just like, because like in our country, for example, and I don't have any, I don't own a gun, but gun registry is not legal.
Right.
Because it's our constitutional right to have one. So gun registries, they make you think you have to do it. But in reality, your rights protect you from having to participate in that. Now, some people just feel like, I don't want to cause waves. I don't want to cause ripples. What harm is it doing me? Let me just do this. But the thing is, that's how it starts. It's like, you can't give these people an inch, because they don't stop at an inch.
Exactly.
Right. Once they get the in, once they realize you're not going to push back, then they push further and push further and push further. And that's how they work.
Yeah. Totally. I agree. That's very interesting. The cards that came up. I like the party card. That's fun. Like maybe a whole new platform will come that's going to blow everyone out of the, maybe Elon will buy iTunes like now. And then he'll be like,
Buy it now.
Elon, buy it now. Because there was talk of him
Somebody.
buying Apple or something. I think Q the Stormrider even said that, and he's been pretty bang on about everything else. So like,
I would love that. I would love it if
me
someone bought
too.
it who would be ethical with this. And then we could
Yeah.
stop the shitty production of like planned obsolescence and crap like that.
Yeah.
Because without all those negative things involved in it, I think it's a good product. It's
Totally.
just manipulated to death.
I agree 100%. So next question, and maybe you already kind of answered this, but if it does happen, right, that these big platforms register, how long will it last? Or how long will this censorship with, I guess, two questions. How long will C-11 last as a whole before it gets crushed? Let's ask that first, maybe.
Okay. Let's see. All right, team, how long will this C-11 drama last before it is completely ended, crushed? All right, so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for numbers, or I'm looking for certain court cards that would give me a length of time.
Okay.
All right.
This is a good one today. I'm feeling all lit up about it.
Most of these things that they're throwing at us are ghosts. They're the metaphor, Plato's metaphor of the shadows on the cave wall is exactly what they're doing. They're trying to convince us that we should stay in this cave of ignorance for our own safety. Don't go outside because it's really dangerous. And it's like, everyone's starting to get that that's the BS story now. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, team. When is this thing? Like, how long is this C-11 drama going on? This one. So we got the two of discs in the reverse position, which is talking about change. I don't get that. I almost get like maybe by the end of the year, it doesn't go anywhere. I feel like something happens where it kind of peters out. Like this was they're really going for the scare right now.
Yeah.
And it's not really scaring people. It's one of those things like they're trying to scare people again into thinking there's more lockdowns or there's something else coming. And no one's really taking the bait.
Yeah. People are just like getting annoyed more than anything, I feel like.
Yeah, well, because they pushed it too hard. The first time they pushed it too hard. They pushed it so long. And I think that was the white hats who did it. They were like, exaggerate it, because it got people to be like, enough. I am done. I am completely done. I'm not doing this again. So now when they say, oh, we're going to do this again, people are like, I'm not participating now.
Yeah.
So I keep getting, this is a boogeyman, doesn't really have legs. I kind of am, I'm going to put it out there, by the end of the year, this is kind of a nothing burger. Something happens and intervenes. So, maybe end of December, maybe before that, but it's very short lived. A 2 is not, there's not a lot of energy in that. So if we had gotten a higher number, that means it could have gone on for like the rest of like maybe 2024, you're dealing with it. I don't think it goes into 2024. Let me just double check with that. I'm going to ask my pendulum again. So from the highest truth, does Canada's C-11 bill even make it into the year 2024, or does it die now? So if it makes it into the year 2024, tell me yes or no from the highest truth. Yeah, no, nothing. There's just nothing to this. There's, I get that there is a charge because they want you emotionally charged. They want you fighting. And I mean, the good guys want you fighting.
Right.
And that's, get ready, because that is the theme of 2024 is you fight back. Right. So they're going to do things that instigate you and make you like pissed off. They want you fighting back. They want you putting your foot down, because that's our power.
Yeah.
And they want us in this, because we're the ones, as soon as we all say stop, this does stop. And I want you to think about that meme that they show of like the group of people and they're all cowering down and one guy's whipping them.
Yeah.
And then a couple people stand up and they're like, what? And then everybody stands up and then the guy whipping is cowering, because as soon as we all collectively get it together enough to say, stop, this can't go anywhere. They're not the majority. They don't have the power. We have the power. And so these are ghosts that are meant to get you riled up. I want to fight back. Right. Yeah. So in the meantime, my advice to you and anyone in Canada that has a podcast would be, look into that registry. Don't jump into it. Investigate, research, see if your rights protect you from having to do that at all or not. Mm-hmm. And if you come to the conclusion that it's not necessary, follow that instinct. But in the meantime, prep your audience, tell them where to find you should the shenanigans go on long enough where they test things. Yeah. Right. So tell them to go to your mailing list, have an alternative platform that you trust, that you feel can't, like I was saying to Amber, drive them to Rumble, if you feel like there's a possibility things could get interrupted, or to your website, wherever you feel like you have freedom and control.
Totally. And it'll be short-lived. Good. Let's go, Canadians. Let's stand up. And my last question is this white hat off to again get another angle, wake up another crowd of people?
I feel like it is.
Show the stupidity of how stupid.
I feel like it is, but we'll ask
little. I call him CGI Trudy, because I think we've done some stuff and we've seen some things that look more like CGI, and then his eyebrows like falling off.
Well, he's like, he gains and loses weight so quickly.
And he's like,
I mean, how many doubles? How many doubles does that guy have? Like,
they're different.
He had like a full beard, no beard, back to a full beard. I'm like, that's
gained
impressive.
30 pounds in a week. Like his Lloyd Christmas haircut for a couple weeks there. Like,
right. I remember that one. Okay.
Trolling.
So, I know, right? Like, how ridiculous can this be? Okay. So from the highest truth, is this Canada C-11 bill something that the white hats put in place to wake up Canadians? Yes or no? They did it. That was them.
I get a yes too.
That was them. You tricky bastards. No, I appreciate them, but
me too.
This is, the thing that I get, and I want to relate it back to the test EBS thing that happened here in the United States today, is people are ready. And what I mean by that is they feel some big shift coming. Yeah. And a lot of people are getting fatigued from it. We're in battle fatigue. This is what war feels like. And this is what it would have felt like to be in World War II or World War I, where, the fight is continuing and sometimes we're winning, sometimes we're not, and we're not sure, and we don't know when it ends. And that's something I think that it's real. Battle fatigue is real. Mm-hmm. So while you're going through these ups and downs, these swings, and it's like, who's playing me right now? Is this really the bad guys? Is it a good guy maneuver? This one is a tactic to wake some more people up, right? You got to do things to take care of yourself. You got to focus in on your nervous system, right? And you need to step away sometimes from this stuff and just live your life, because it can be consuming and it can bring your energy really far down.
Totally. I agree. So it's find that balance. And, when it feels so real, remember it is a movie, and certain steps obviously have been planned to be taken to help get this awakening further along.
Right. And it's a hero's journey. You're the hero. Every one of us gets to play the hero here. Yeah. But remember, there is a point right before the ending where it looks like the good guys are going down. Right. And if we haven't really seen that part yet, just be prepared that that's a part of the movie, because it makes an incredible movie when at the last second they're hanging from a cliff or the bad guys got them and you're like, oh crap, we've just lost, and then they get that will to live, right? The strength to overcome the adversity. That's how it goes. Every movie that goes through this is always the good guys win. Good guys do win. They have to put that in there because that's the real truth. That is really what happens.
Yeah.
And so just know, like, if we're feeling the bumpiness and the rough spots, the movie's not over, right? It's not over till we win.
I agree. I feel like at some point here we should do one of these on what is going to be the big event that takes us to the
scare event.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check it out. I personally, like, right now, my my guess is nuclear.
Same.
That's what I think is going to happen. How close does it have to get? I'm kind of hoping the whole Iron Dome thing kicks in. We'll talk about that. Maybe we should talk about it next time.
Yeah, let's talk about it next time. I think that'd be a great topic.
Yeah.
Well, we got into some fun stuff today. C-11, Castro, Trudeau Jr. Like,
right?
You never know what's going to come up in these lovely chats. Where can everyone find you, Therese, if they want to come check out your work, get support?
Yeah, so you can go to blythestarlight.com. The link is in the description below. You can also check out my YouTube channel. I also have a Rumble channel just in case I go down, because you never know, YouTube loves to censor. But it's at Blythe Starlight on both platforms. And I do a lot of videos there. I've got karma cards every week, which are my favorite to do. But we've also been doing these one-off topics where people will send me questions about a certain topic coming up, and I'll look into it with the card. So if you have a question, that's the perfect place to go. Leave me a comment, and you never know, it might be my next video.
I love it.
And Amber,
so good.
How about you, Amber? How can we reach you?
Yeah, so if you want support to regulate your nervous system, or maybe you're really stressed about world circumstances and it's triggering you to emotionally eat a lot and you don't want to keep doing that and you're ready to break free, then you can find the details below to book a consultation, listen to the podcast, as well as get some other free tidbits and take the free emotional eating quiz. This is a great time to be supported to heal your self-sabotage, so that it makes it easier for you to process what's going on in the world, right? Like if I was me 14 years ago, I'd be a basket case right now. So I'm so grateful that I healed and that I have the tools now to feel through stressors, because otherwise, I'd be here with my big box of chocolates and my pint of ice cream.
And Amber is incredible at guiding you through how to regulate your nervous system. She has helped me so much. And so, with her help, I have lots of tools to help me stay grounded during this period. And it's great to be with like-minded people who are reminding you that we're all in this together, but we're all going to be okay. And it's all about like managing ourselves through the process.
Exactly. And Therese, you've helped me a lot with like the energy and manifesting and my mindset and just reminding myself how powerful I am. So we make a great team. If anyone has topics or ideas they want to see for the next Shining the Light On, leave them in the comments below. And it was a pleasure as always. Can't wait to see you again next week. And again. Oh, yeah.
All right.